Bhakata Charanarenu Bhajanayanu Kirabag Mahamahotsav Adivas Titi Ki Jai Jai Gaur Premanande Vishakha Devi Ki Jai Jai Pandita Devi Ki Jai. So today is Ekadashi day, and it's also the Adivas to our Gurudev's disappearance day. It's Gaur Dwadashi. Left on. It was around like 4:30 in the morning, right? Gaur Dwadashi. And actually that date of Gaur Dwadashi, it is a very special date. Actually, Srila Rupa Goswami and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, they left on that titi, on that particular date. And I was just reflecting how, it feels very appropriate. The day before is Ekadashi. Feels like some, preparatory mood. Because on Ekadashi we are, observing some level of fasting and trying to serve in more of an exclusive way and reduce our own enjoyment. And in that, we're feeling deeper connection with Guru and Gauranga. Srila Gurudev explains that the word upavas, the Sanskrit word for fasting, that the word upa comes from the word samipe, which means to be close. And vas means to reside, it's referring to residing, to reside. So the meaning is, to stay close, to remain close, to reside close. And so the idea is that, in that mood of trying to reduce our own comfort and to give more for the service and satisfaction of Guru, Gauranga, Vaishnava, then that is bringing us closer, in that spirit of sacrifice. And that is bringing us closer to our Lord, to our Divine Master. So it feels very appropriate that we can try to spend today in that mood, and thus bring us closer to our Gurudev's lotus feet. Because he has not left us, in the physical sense he has left us, but he is alive in the plane of consciousness. And as we progress in the mood of dedication, sacrifice, then the more we can come to meet him. That is what it means to connect with Guru and the higher Vaishnavas, the Lord. It means to develop in the plane of dedication. Then the closer we will come through following, and therefore, we are always advised, through following their divine instructions, by adhering to their will, then our consciousness is coming closer to meet their consciousness. So, our whole lives really are geared towards that. We are trying to live our whole life as an offering in His divine service. There's a beautiful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is glorifying the Vaishnavas. Sako Sudorlabha Bhagavata Hiloke, saying how extremely rare it is to meet a pure Vaishnava, a pure devotee of the Lord. It is such a rare thing. And when Mahaprabhu meets with Sanatana Goswami, when Sanatana Goswami is a fugitive running from the government, and he comes to finally reaches Mahaprabhu, and he's very ragged and very dirty, but Mahaprabhu overlooks all of that and is glorifying him and embracing him close, and then Mahaprabhu quotes that verse from Bhagavatam, and he also paraphrases it in Bengali. Toma Sparshi, Toma Deki, Gai Tomar Gun. Saying that to see you, to touch you, to speak of your glories, this is the real fulfillment of all the senses. Mahaprabhu is saying that. The Lord, the Supreme Lord Himself, is saying that about His beloved devotee. This is what our senses are for. This is what our tongue is for, to speak the glories of the real Vaishnavas of the Lord, the real devotees of the Lord. To see such a pure devotee is the fulfillment of sight. To speak of such a devotee is the fulfillment of speech. So, our Gurudev, Om Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Swami Maharaj, he was a Vaishnava, he was a devotee of that caliber. And so, the fulfillment of our existence, the fulfillment of our life, our janma fall, will be to offer ourselves in His divine service. So, we are always, trying to remain in the consciousness of His divine service, but particularly at this time, today, tomorrow, there's some more intense degree of remembrance. That mood of separation, not that we can think we have the real feeling of separation. It is a very high thing to have, but some touch, something, some feeling we have in the heart, some sense of loss that we have, and so that intensifies our feelings of appreciation. The pain of separation, it cuts more deeply to the heart. It pierces more deeply to the heart than the joy of togetherness. And so, Viraha, Milan, Srila Sridhar Maharaj's beautiful phrase, union and separation. This is the highest conception. Union and separation, and so some touch of that, it comes to us in connection with our divine master, Srila Govinda Maharaj. And it is necessary, actually, for our continued progress, that such a situation will come about. It is actually necessary. It is, it is a period of test and examination, to be able to continue in the absence, to remain faithful and steady in the absence of one's Lord and Master. So it is a necessary aspect of our growth in Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we feel, it is hopeless without him. Sometimes we feel abandoned in a very selfish mood. But it is actually a necessary part of our growth. And Gurudev, he gave so much energy for us, and how much trouble could we expect to continue giving him, that he will stay forever to tend to all of our childish problems. We cannot be so selfish. But in the purified heart, that many moods are there, and even Srila Gurudev himself, he expressed such a mood when Srila Sridhar Maharaj left the world. They held a festival 10 days after Srila Sridhar Maharaj left, and Srila Gurudev, it's probably like the most powerful, I don't know if powerful is the right word, but the most heart-touching talk, that I've ever heard from Srila Gurudev. Because it's only a few days after Srila Sridhar Maharaj left, and so Gurudev, he was never putting his feelings on display. And I've never seen Srila Gurudev show, like very strong emotion. But I've heard from maybe Saraswati Didi saw something. But I've heard of a few occasions I've heard of maybe 2 occasions when he broke down in tears, remembering Srila Sridhar Maharaj. There was one occasion in Italy where he began expressing a very, very sorrowful mood on the disappearance day of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. But anyhow, and this expression of Gurudev speaking just a few days after Srila Sridhar Maharaj left the world is particularly, touching to the heart, because it is a very, raw, Srila Gurudev is in this raw mood, and he expresses many very beautiful things there, and then at the end he has to leave because he becomes very emotional, but he concludes telling, because many of Srila Sridhar Maharaj's, well, not many, because actually Srila Sridhar Maharaj outlived most of them, but there were a few still, who were there. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, he's addressing them as well as the honorable Vaishnavas present, and he concludes by telling them, please tell him, telling them, tell Guru Maharaj that he left without his boy. Like that, tell him he left without his boy. And it's a very, very beautiful talk. And he also in there, he quotes a very beautiful verse of Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Radha Giridhari Ki Jai. he quotes a verse of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, which is glorifying Srila Sanatana Goswami. Which, it summarizes the purpose of the pure devotees' descent to this world. Vairagya yu bhakti rasam prayatner payan mam anabipsam andan kripambu dirya paraduka duki sanatanastam prabhum ashrayami. Saying that I, Raghunath Das Goswami, is very humbly saying, I had no desire to taste the nectar of devotion. And Vairagya yu bhakti samprayatya, this bhakti rasa is also described as being of a vairagya, indicating of a pure transcendental spiritual nature. But my Guru Maharaj, referring to Sanatana Goswami, he is paraduka duki. This expression comes from there. His only duk, his only sorrow, is to see the sorrow of others. So out of his compassion and mercy, not being able to tolerate seeing, my condition of life, he caused me, he forcefully caused me to drink this bhakti rasa, this nectar of devotion. Vairagya yu bhakti rasam prayatna payam anabipsam andam. I was blind. I was unwilling and I was blind. But my Guru Maharaj, being so merciful, kripambudir, an ocean of mercy, and sorrowful, so sorrowful to see the sorrow of others, he caused me, he made me, he forced me to drink this. Sanatanastam prabhum ashrayami. So I take shelter of, my Lord, my Guru, Sanatana Goswami. So, this, and Srila Gurudev, he also, and this is something that it's difficult actually to say anything about Gurudev because we're not really qualified to say anything. Srila Gurudev, he gave that warning once to, famously to Yudamanyu Prabhu. You cannot give it. He was going to give a talk on Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and Gurudev told him before he left for America, you cannot, remember this, you cannot give a certificate to Guru Maharaj. So this is the challenge that we face when we go to try to glorify our Guru Varga. How can we glorify them? We're not in a position to do so. To give a certificate, to them. So to say, oh, this is what I appreciate, cannot say that. It's offensive, actually. For a 2-year-old toddler to say what they appreciate about a great master. Like, who are you? What is your opinion worth anyway? So it is difficult. But what I'll say is one thing that we can note about Gurudev is how he always has such caution, he has such gravity and caution when he goes to express certain sentiments, and to repeat sentiments that have been expressed by other Vaishnavas. There's always an extreme degree of humility and caution that is there, and which gives us some idea of what level of appreciation, respect, and humility is required in order to approach that plane. For someone who's substantially approaching that plane, what type of caution, reservation do they have in their hearts? So the other day we were hearing from affectionate guidance, and Gurudev was quoting this verse of Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur. And first of all, he's quoting the verse in glorification of Srimati Radharani. And the verse itself is already a very cautious glorification. It's not a direct glorification, it is indirect, doubly indirect. On 2 counts, it is an indirect glorification. So the verse itself is already a cautious expression of glorification of Srimati Radharani. And then Gurudev, second level of caution and reservation. When Gurudev goes to speak about that verse, he's extremely cautious and reserved. And first, he's not even telling the translation, he's telling the verse and not saying, oh, this is a very high subject matter, I don't want to discuss in a public meeting. And then several pages later, then he cautiously goes into some discussion of that verse. So Gurudev was always, had this, also we can say, mood of protection for that, for such, high subject matter. Because, with our, as we mentioned the other day, Srila Saraswati Thakur, he said the senses are like vultures. They like to devour everything and make it as their food. So, we like to see the dictionary meaning for everything, like we like to research every point, and this is our nature. We want some food, something to chew on. Our minds like something like facts and figures and numbers and details and all these things and histories. And this is the nature of the mind, the insect. It likes it. Because this is a world of limitation, of measurement. This is one meaning of the word maya, to measure. I think the expression was Mriya te anaya, something like that, Gurudev quoted. To measure, we like to measure and to quantify and contain everything in our head, to simply be satisfied with what grace will descend in a conscious way into our hearts from above. That's not enough for us, So Gurudev, he's actually protecting us, from that tendency. In the way that he presents these things, he's protecting us from our natures, from ourselves. Because what happens is when we go to jump to the empirical analysis, it's like we're how can I say this properly? It's like we're steamrolling over the conscious substance that is there. If we give too much food for our intellect and our minds, then we lose the, one word, every phrase that we sing, has so much conscious divine substance behind it. But if we go to dissect that in the laboratory, we go to analyze that